We have to see constant, steady, sustained.
This is Channel 2 News, coverage you can count on.
We have to see constant, steady, sustained demand.
Northern Nevada is seeing a revival in the building industry, including lots of new houses. But developers are proceeding with caution in the post-recession environment. Money Watch tops Channel 2 News at 5:30. You know, many communities that popped up during the recession, well, they filled up now, and new properties are being developed. Good evening. I'm Kristen Remington.
I'm Wendy DeMonte. Thanks for joining us tonight. And with our population really expected to increase over the years, we could see even more new communities. Paul Nelson joins us live in South Reno after talking to one of the managing partners of the DeMonte Ranch Master Plan. Paul, what kind of behavior is he seeing?
Well, Wendy, he tells us he sees basically the same thing the rest of us do in terms of the amount of building activity, but he says developers are taking a much more conservative approach than we saw before the recession. The construction industry is alive and well in places like DeMonte Ranch, where there's an increase in building and demand, a much different scene than a few years ago.
You know, there was periods of time when there was no demand, and you know, people were desperate to sell and get out of homes. A lot of underwater properties, a lot of short sales, foreclosures.
Just 2 years ago, some construction stopped in the middle of projects, like these homes in Wingfield Springs. Those have since been torn down, and foundations are ready to go. While that never happened to DiLoretto, he has dealt with homes like that.
I've been in the past, even in Reno, involved in projects that I took over that had, that the banks had foreclosed on, where we actually tore some stuff down.
DiLoretto says today's market is healthy and that it's a good thing they're not building at the high rate we saw 10 years ago.
We don't need to. We much prefer a more stable market. The more stable, the more predictable.
With communities filling up with houses, developers including DiLoretto are looking at more property for future projects. He says his company is prepared for the next wave, but taking a modest approach.
We've committed that we're going to build at a certain pace. We're not going to chase the peaks in the market.
DiLoretto says smarter lending and more qualified buyers has helped stabilize the market.
We are pleased to see the market back with a level of activity that we're experiencing now.
And the median home price in the Reno-Sparks area is up to $260,000, but it's not just the price of homes that are going up. It's also the cost of materials for things like concrete and lumber. Covering Money Watch Live, Paul Nelson, Channel 2 News.
All right, Paul, thank you. And we are starting to see some moisture move into our area tonight. We've been following it all day for you, but will it get any heavier overnight? Chief Meteorologist Mike Alger is in the Weather Center. Mike, should we be expecting snow?
Well, not down here, and I don't think we're really going to see that much more other than a few light rain showers here overnight tonight on this side of the mountains. And even the mountains themselves, they've kind of gotten hit with the strength of this first weak cold front coming through the region. If we look at see what's happening over the next several days, it is going to be fairly soggy, each of which are not all that particularly impressive. But if you look at a satellite picture, we got a few storms stacked up here. The one coming through right now actually is split apart fairly quickly. A little bit of rotation. This is kind of where the center of the low is up there. Here's the next one coming in right on its heels. This will be here by tomorrow afternoon. And then look at that. We got another one right up there upstream, and that's going to follow in probably late Friday into Saturday. All of those, none of them are particularly strong, but they could produce some precipitation. The precipitation we're getting right now is kind of getting cut off at the mountains. It's reforming a little bit further over here to the the east you can see. But we're going to see, like I say, a few light showers, mountains getting snow above about that 8,000 foot level. So tonight by 10 o'clock, still some showers expected, and on the passes there it'll be either rain or snow mix. 39 degrees at Lake Tahoe level with a few rain showers, 42 down here. And then tomorrow it's kind of a break. We'll see some clouds, we'll see temperatures that'll be mild. It's not going to be all that frigid tomorrow. And then tomorrow afternoon, kind of doing the same thing again, except this second one tomorrow should be at least slightly stronger than this one. We'll tell you why and where it'll hit and how much we can expect coming up here in a few minutes.
In Cone Zone, next month, the Regional Transportation Commission will begin work on a $31 million project in Southeast Reno to widen McCarran Boulevard in Southeast Reno.
In 2012, we completed widening from Longley Lane up to Mira Loma. This is the second phase that'll widen the road from 4 to 6 lanes from Mira Loma up to Gregg Street and Sparks.
In addition to widening of that road, RTC will install a multi-use path for people who want to walk or ride their bikes, new sidewalks, and sound walls. RTC is holding an open house until 6 tonight so the public can learn a little bit more about this project. It's underway right now at Dodson Elementary School on Houston Drive. Construction is slated to begin in just a matter of weeks. You can expect minor delays if you use that stretch of the roadway through 2015.
Last night, we took you behind the scenes of the Salvation Army, which is not only in the business of recycling goods, but recycling lives. Lives of hundreds of men battling drug and alcohol addiction. And tonight, in part 2 of our Road to Recovery series, meet the 3 men we've been following for the past 180 days.
Amen.
The men in the Salvation Army's rehab program start every day with devotionals before heading to work therapy, where they sort, price, and get donations ready for resale. But Pat Nelson's day starts long before he clocks in. Pat's up by 5 to work out.
I get up, say my prayers, do all that, brush my teeth, and then I get my clothes ready and I go in the gym.
Where the 46-year-old father is not only training to live sober, but also to fight as a boxer once he graduates from this program, goals he didn't have a year ago.
I didn't do nothing. I wanted to just sit around the house and get high and drink.
Pat took his first drink at about 10 years old. He grew into a star athlete and says that's when alcohol became even easier to get. Plus, his best friend was an alcoholic too, his mother.
My mom got killed in 1993 in a robbery attempt in Stockton. She got shot in the head.
Pat blamed her murder for his drug abuse, which landed him in prison 4 times. But when a judge ordered him here, counseling, classes, and support groups gifted Pat the tools he needs to stay clean, and it's been nearly 5 months. And now, with a private message to his mom in this balloon, he's ready to let go of the pain that triggered his abuse.
Look how high up it is.
Yeah.
It's going up the clouds, going up to heaven, man.
Were you ready to let go of it?
Yeah, I was. I've been ready to let go of it for a long time. I just didn't know how.
As is the case for a lot of these men who've come to rely on spiritual guidance, they walk to church together twice a week, which is where we met 23-year-old Mike Trumpower, new to the program and recovering from meth. As a teen, he binged, crashed, and sold meth on 4th Street.
I knew a lot of people down there that does it, so I got rid of it quick.
It didn't take very long to make a lot of money.
No.
And if he didn't have money?
I had my food stamps. Sometimes I'd sell it and get a room. Sometimes I'd just sleep on the river.
But finally, after wasting away, not sleeping, and hungry, Mike was arrested, jailed, and given one last chance here. He shared intermittently with others, saying his parents' divorce triggered his bad behavior, but he never fully opened up. And the last time we saw him, well, it was standing here, quietly during worship. The director of the program says Mike was kicked out for stealing a cell phone. And last we heard, is living back here on the streets, which was also home for a man who says drinking is killing him. Growing up in a well-to-do family with 2 professional parents, Chris Hart says he had little discipline. He started drinking heavily at 15 years old, but his first sip was much earlier than that.
6 years old when I had my first drink. 24-ounce can of Budweiser.
As a teenager, Chris was the life of the party, but his weekend drinking became an everyday craving.
Some people can take 1 or 2 drinks and be done with it. Me, I can't do that.
He'd black out, do angry things, then lost jobs, family, friends, and his home. He panhandled for money, slept near the river, and watched his back.
Well, you got to learn not to trust anybody, that's for sure. You know, anybody will steal from you in a minute.
But after living scared on the streets, he caught wind of the Salvation Army rehab program, where he thrived, studied, and embraced the support, and where he also admitted he wants to be sober.
You got to want it.
And do you want it?
Yes, I do want it. Very bad so.
But is that enough? Not long after our interview, while working his shift in the warehouse, this surfaced. In a donated dresser, a bottle of rubbing alcohol. And seconds later, everything changed. Rubbing alcohol, that's right. Now to find out what happened, please join us for part 3 of our Road to Recovery series tomorrow night at 5.
All right, thanks, Kristen. Well, our 22nd annual Share Your Christmas Drive-By Food Drive is now almost 3 weeks away, and we hope you'll help us make the holidays brighter for less fortunate families. It is Friday, December 12th. We'll be set up at the Grand Sierra Resort, the Governor's Mansion in Carson City, and the Carson Valley Inn in Minden. Stop by between 6 in the morning and 6 at night and drop off some non-perishable food. Last year, we helped collect more than 180,000 pounds of food for local food banks. We hope you will help us beat that number this year. And if you are a business owner who want to collect food, give the food bank a call at 331-3663 extension 156, and they will get you set up with a food donation barrel. Still to come tonight, have government guidelines to make school lunches healthier actually making the kids who eat them healthier? I'll take a look in tonight's Health Watch. Open enrollment to buy health insurance for 2015 is now underway. We know there are a lot of questions out there, so I've invited back Mike Dillon of Dillon Insurance Services for some Money Watch Q&A. To speak with him, call 858-2222.
Well, we have a lot of cloud cover out there and a few mountain showers. What are the odds that it's going to make its way down here into the valley? And is it going to amount to much even if it does? We'll answer that and give you the forecast right through the weekend. I'll have that for you next.
You're watching Channel 2 News at 5:30 with Wendy DeMonte, Kristen Remington, Sports with Garrett Dearborn, and Mike Alger's Pinpoint 2 forecast.
We were there the next day when he got back. First of all, he was still detoxing after 5 days at West Hills, but and we didn't know that, otherwise we would have totally tried to get video. But he was noticeably different. Like the sound bites in our first 2 interviews with him, I thought were great. He gave us the best sound. After he came back, there was like a piece of him that was just killed. Yeah, and not just from the rubbing alcohol, obviously, but 5 more weeks being on the streets and just drinking and not eating. And he goes, and he even said, every time I go out, it chips away at me, and I'm just not the person I was before. I'm gonna die. I will die if I go out one more time. Die.
Every time he goes out and drinks, you mean?
Or just, yeah, homeless or not sober, yeah. But, I mean, a remarkable difference in 5 weeks, just in personality. I know he recognized us when we came back, but he was sitting there totally sweating and detoxing, and he looked over, and he was like glaring at us. And he's like, what are you doing? What the beep, beep, beep? I mean, he was just,
said that?
Oh yeah. He was so, and he's like, well, whatever, if it makes a difference. And he was just glaring us down.
So he was mad that you guys were there to continue the interview with him?
And then when we sat down with him, he said, well, I guess if I can help one person. But in 5 weeks, he had already forgotten what the purpose of our...
But that's not, you say the third one, you don't even know where he is.
Oh yeah, I don't even know where he is. His brother was his dealer. His brother made the meth in a bottle. I mean, that's a whole other... And then his brother learned from his girlfriend's mother. I mean, it's just incestuous and disgusting, you know? And he would go sell it for his brother. His brother's in jail now.
We have not had a string of storms set up like this one for a while. Now, again, I want to emphasize none of these individually are that big of a deal, but we finally have more than just one little isolated one coming through that'll be gone and then have nothing else for another week. We've got three very identifiable ones. The first one, which we're experiencing right now. Now, again, apart from a few sprinkles that we're getting over the top of the mountains here, we have not had anything really crest the Sierra and get down into the valley here. Mountains have received very minor amounts of rain all the way up to about 8,000 feet before it's turning into snow. So it's a fairly warm system. The one tomorrow is slightly cooler, but not that much different. We're at 53 degrees right now. This is at the airport. 24% humidity. The dew point's in the teens, so it's still pretty dry. No wind at all down here in the valley. You are getting some up in the mountains, of course, and a 30.03 barometric pressure hasn't really moved. High today is our present temperature, 53 degrees, a low of 34 degrees. We've seen no precipitation. We're right at the average for the high and a little bit above that on the low. And if you look at the precipitation, again, we're still very dry. Even for the month, we've only picked up 0.14 of an inch and still shy of 4 inches for the year. We've only got a month and a half left, a little less than that, to get up to what would be an average year of 7.5 inches of precipitation. So it's almost for sure we're going to end up very much on the dry side of average rain-wise here in Reno, at least. Burn code, there's one good part of news. It's in the green range, green light for the burn code. All right, so again, not much getting over the top. This is just kind of the residual moisture that's flowing up. The front itself has actually pushed through a little bit. We really aren't seeing much cooling down here. Our temperature in the valley was the same as it was at South Lake today, and I just don't expect to see much more than a few isolated showers. We don't have a lot of wind with it, so any of that rain shadow effect is going to be limited a little bit, but it just isn't that much. You can see this whole stretching apart here of the front and really very little rotation or cold air support to it. So we have to look at the next one coming in here, this one, and then the other one back up here. Both of these are a lot better shaped storms, especially this one up here off the Aleutians. This one will come by tomorrow. It's going to weaken a little bit, but if you look and see what the future satellite and radar holds for us, this band pushing by, you can see in the afternoon, nice little rotation, a little comma front there that goes on through. We'll still get shadowed out to a certain extent, and then as that passes by on Friday, look what's coming right on its heels. Late on Friday, we're going to see showers starting up in Northern California and probably getting down to here by Saturday with snow again up in the mountains. Temperature-wise tomorrow, we'll look at 40s and 50s in the southern part of the state. Same story, 40s up in the north, 50s over here in the west as you get to the northern half of the state. And in Reno tonight, 35 for our low, 52 for our high, upper 40s around Lake Tahoe. So for Tahoe here for tomorrow, we do expect to see rain or snow showers across the area. Snow level tomorrow is going to be a little lower, 6,500 to 7,000 feet, a high of 48 degrees, a little bit of wind at the lake, but a lot more up on the ridge tops. Reno, better chance of rain mainly in the afternoon, high of 52 tomorrow, southwest winds to 10 miles per hour. Extended forecast, that 20% on Friday is either a few left over from tomorrow or starting early from Saturday here, Saturday the next system. And if you look at how much snow can we get tomorrow out of it, 3 to 4 inches maybe up in the mountains. Again, not a huge storm, and maybe the same amount out of that thing coming through Saturday, possibly a little bit more on Saturday if it holds together better.
Let's hope. All right. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks.
The last time Reed and Hug faced off, Hug came away with an upset victory on the final play of the game. And guess what? These teams are facing off again in the playoffs. I'm Dallas Coladney, and hear from them coming up in sports.
Plus, fitness and weight loss apps are all the rage these days, but are they really helping make us healthier and skinnier? Well, the details next in My Health Watch. Oh. Okay, you're gonna like that. Check, 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 check. Is that okay? federal guidelines for school meals may be doing more harm than good, and new findings could lead to new treatment for heart attack victims. Those stories and more in tonight's Health Watch. A study of 18,000 heart patients finds the combination drug Vytorin works better than a statin alone at reducing cholesterol and cardiovascular events. Researchers in Boston say Vytorin lowered cholesterol 20% further than just the statin Zocor, and that led to a 6% drop in heart attacks and strokes.
How much you lower the cholesterol is what leads to how much benefit you can get in preventing heart attacks and strokes.
The study was funded by Merck, which makes the drug. A new study questions whether government recommendations for school meals really help cut down on childhood obesity. The regulations require more whole grains, less saturated fat, and more fruits and vegetables. But researchers at Johns Hopkins found most of the whole grains in school lunches are processed, and the fruit and milk often contain added sugar. And smartphone apps to lose weight don't seem to work. Researchers in California found obese patients who downloaded the MyFitnessPal app to record everything they ate and drank did not lose more weight than obese patients who only use traditional methods to lose weight. And that's Health Watch for tonight. For a closer look, just go to KTVN.com and click on the Health Watch icon.
Wendy, thanks. Coming up in sports, it was Reed's only loss in Nevada this season, and the defending Northern champs will look for a little revenge on the Hug Hawks. We'll talk both sides coming up. Plus, the Oakland A's picked up a bat today. Garrett gives us the details on Billy Butler next in sports.
What did he say? Dude, if you wanna save time, we can just run the package. I don't care. Huh? No, I'm just saying we don't have to do the Billy Butler story. Yeah. You want to save time? Okay.
Garrett Dearborn is here now with sports. A big matchup on Friday, Garrett.
There is indeed, Kristen and Wendy. Yeah, the Division I North semifinals are this Friday night, and one of the more exciting matchups will be the Reed Raiders hosting the Hug Hawks. Of course, this a rematch of one of the best games of the season in Nevada. Hug pulled off the upset on the final play of the game a couple weeks back. Dallas Kolodny caught up with both squads to talk about revenge and punching a ticket to the Northern Finals.
Prior to October 24th, the three-time defending Division I North champion Reed Raiders had been rolling through their Northern Nevada competition. Then the upstart Hug Hawks and quarterback Dikembe Montgomery came to Bering Boulevard, and all that changed. As Hug won on Montgomery's last-second touchdown run, 49-45.
And then I think we had a minute 30 left, so coach was just calling pass plays, you know. And then we got it down to the 10, and 2 seconds left, and I just ran it in. I was thinking, don't let no one tackle me.
Just the lack of execution in the third and fourth quarter. I mean, we had them up 21-0 going in the second quarter, and just let it slide away.
But that game is in the past now, as these two teams will square off again on Friday night for the right to play for a Northern championship.
Well, I think when it comes down to it, we both programs want to win this game because we get to go to the regional championship. So the motivation there alone is enough.
No, they know. I mean, what's at stake? Chance at the regional championship game, and the last game doesn't mean anything. You know, this is a brand new game. We're both 1-0.
And with a regional and state title within reach, the players on these two teams couldn't be more excited.
And you know, this is stuff that you dream of, an opportunity to play in the regional and state championship. You know, this is a lot of great stuff. You know, stuff that you don't get a chance to do every day, and we're gonna make something special out of it.
Yeah, it's more like every week thing. I mean, come out, play football on Friday nights, and execute everything we do. And you know, great passes, great catches, great tackles, and great interceptions.
So the matchups are all set for the Northern Region Division I semifinals. Hug will visit Reed. The other game will be Carson hosting Reno. The two winners of those games will face off for the Northern Division title. You can catch the highlights and results of those on Inside the Two Friday night. Dallas Kolodny, Channel 2 Sports.
Yeah, of course, this is the semifinals, so there's a couple games. Hug and Reed, the big matchup, but not to slight Reno and Carson going at it down in Carson City Friday night. And as he said, on Inside the Two, we'll have the highlights.
Okay. Big night for those kids. Okay, Garrett, thanks.
We'll be right back.
This is breaking news.
We do have some breaking news to tell you about before we go. Emergency crews are on the scene of an auto versus pedestrian accident on Airway Drive. That's just behind the airport off Longley Lane. We don't know much just yet, but we do know that the accident happened about 15 minutes ago. We know one person was hit by the vehicle, and roads are closed in that area while they try to sort things out. We do have a crew on scene right now working with law enforcement to sort out all of the information for you, and we'll bring that to you tonight on Channel 2 News at 6:30.
And speaking of the weather now, boy, it's going to be maybe some moisture coming in tomorrow.
Like I say, none of them are going to be huge, but we've got three separate systems. One we're in right now, one that we'll see tomorrow afternoon, and then one that we're going to see early on Saturday. Could add up to something, especially in the mountains.
Sounds good. Thanks for being with us.
See you again at 6:30.